All right, Robert, here we are. We have, I don't even know if I want to give this guy attention, but we need to listen to this. Gary Economics. I brought him to
this is him?
This is him.
Oh, great.
I brought him to your attention recently because there was a clip of him talking about Bitcoin, and we have him, we got a video here. Crypto equals internet points, why it won't make you rich. He's right with crypto, but I think he's also referring to Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well, let's hear it.
Boss, can I get a flat white? How much is that?
$2.90.
Do you take Gazcoin?
Gascoin?
Gazcoin, the new crypto for Gary's Economics, the YouTube channel. It's Gazcoin. It's worth £147.20, mate. More than a flat white.
Let me have a look. I hate to break it to you, boss. They're worth nothing.
Gone down to zero, yeah? Okay, you keep the coffee. We're gonna do it on crypto. Crypto, Bitcoin, NFTs, everybody's talking about them. If you take away one single message from this video, I want it to be this. All of these investments are extremely risky, and it's completely possible that you can lose 100% of any money you invest in them.
Well, it's already off to a bad start. Bitcoin does not equal crypto, does not equal NFTs.
100%.
Bitcoin is not an investment. Bitcoin is money.
Yep.
Bitcoin is a savings technology. Crypto and NFTs are ship coins, as we don't say the SHIT word anymore. We say ship coins instead.
Thank you to Matt Crowder for that one.
We don't have to keep shit coins, honestly. Is that cursing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I feel like my daughter could say shit coin. I don't think I'd be mad about that.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I might be proud of that.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of an exception.
To be like, oh, thank you figuring it out.
Because it's a word. It's not I'm not really cathartically releasing any energy when I say shit coin. I'm just technically describing what it is.
All right, could that be I agree with that. That could be the one exception to the cursing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crypto, NFT are shit coins.
Yeah.
They are gambling devices at best. They're outright scams at worst.
Yep.
Bitcoin is an internet protocol.
Yes.
Like HTTP, SMTP, etc. The only difference is that instead of letting us move information without permission, it lets us move purchasing power without permission. The fact that someone, first of all, calls them an investment, it signifies economic ignorance.
Yeah.
Second of all, that he's lumping them all together, Bitcoin, crypto, NFTs, tells me he's ignorant.
Yes.
So Gary Economics, you have a lot of economic ignorance, and we're only 1 minute and 11 seconds into your video.
See, you don't pay attention to any of this stuff, and maybe it's why you have such an immense amount of cognitive horsepower. You know, I dabble in some of this crap because it flies across my screen, and maybe I should stop. Oh, let's see. What do we got, Gary? He just has a vibe. I'm not a fan of the vibe.
Kind of a smug dude so far.
He is.
We've just met though.
Look, right now, these things are being advertised on buses. They're being advertised on footballers' jerseys. There's millions of people all over Instagram and YouTube telling you they've made thousands of pounds on it. Probably even your friends are saying this. Every single video I post on this channel, I get scam comments saying you can make loads of money on Bitcoin. All of these things come together to give the impression that these are safe, reliable investments. Nothing could be further from the truth, okay? I'm in touch with gambling organizations, and they're seeing a massive increase of people with addictions to crypto trading and massive losses from it. I've had friends personally lose enormous amounts of money. You need to understand these are super dangerous investments, and you can lose any money you put in. Next, we're gonna talk about what cryptocurrency actually is.
Currency. They're losing currency. They're not losing money. I think Bitcoin is the only money that we have. Everything else is currency, or it's, real estate, equities. These are assets, I suppose. I think about them as liabilities, but I think Bitcoin's the only thing I think of as money or an asset.
There's a lot of ambiguity in this, of course, like the whole podcast, what is money, right? It's actually difficult to define. Even the economists themselves, there's a whole web of intricate definitions we could get into when we look at his other video, when he talks about what is money. I would always defer to Mises. I think he's done the most systematic exploration of this topic. But what people ultimately care about, like regardless whether it's money, whether it's currency, whether it's assets, what people care about maintaining and growing is purchasing power.
Yeah.
Right? Net worth. Like what are the amount of goods and services that I either own or have the capacity to own with the money that I have set aside.
Yeah.
So it's all about purchasing power. And again, Mises makes this point beautifully. He goes, people don't actually care about what quantity of money they have. They only care about the goods and services that that money can purchase for them. It's all about purchasing power.
Yeah.
And the reason that's so important is because this is a matter of survivability.
Yeah.
Right? The more purchasing power you have, like the more things you can buy, the greater chances you have of surviving and thriving in the real world.
Yeah.
Right? You have a medical problem, money helps.
Yeah.
You have a legal problem, money helps. You have any kind of problem almost, not every problem, but many problems are at least addressable with money because you can find someone in the market that provides a good or service that can help you solve that problem no matter what it is.
Yep. I like that.
Cryptos like Bitcoin are an unbacked monetary system. What that means is they're not backed by anything real.
Pause.
Bounded by energy.
All right, let's hear what you mean by that. Let's hear what you mean by that, Gary. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
If you buy Apple stock, you own a part of those Apple stores and some of those Apple products.
No, you don't. Any public equity you own in the United States the title is held by the DTCC. You could see the documentary, The Great Taking. You don't actually own it, and you have significant amounts of counterparty risk. But traditionally, before all these things that have changed post 1971, he's right. You did own a share in a company's capital. That's what basically owning a stock is. But I have to also correct, Bitcoin is not. When you say unbacked, you are implying that there is no substance. There's nothing of substance that you own. So for instance, a fiat currency is unbacked. There's no asset that it lays claim to. But a gold-backed currency, which is what the dollar used to be and what all fiat currencies
And a lot of
were.
people seem to operate like it still is gold-backed.
Exactly. When you say gold backing in that sense, it means that is an IOU or a certificate that lays claim to an underlying asset like gold. Bitcoin is bound up mathematically with raw energy. That's what proof of work is. So Saylor often uses the metaphor digital energy, and people are like, what the hell does that mean? But it's like, that's how profound it is. We have taken energy or power, right? Energy per unit time is power, watts, and we have digitized it in this absolutely scarce native digital asset. So Bitcoin is backed by the raw material of the universe itself, which is energy.
That's so beautiful. Gosh.
If you buy Tesco stock, you literally own a part of those supermarkets. If you buy a house, you get a house you can live in. If you buy gold, you get a little bar of gold. If you buy Bitcoin, all you have is a Bitcoin. You can't exchange that legally for anything. It gives you no legal ownership.
Are you kidding me?
This guy's getting
You can't exchange. Wait, your name is Gary Economics, and you just said you can't exchange Bitcoin for anything? Bitcoin has like multi-trillion dollars of transaction volume over the past 15 years. It's liquid 24/7 globally. It can be exchanged for any currency in the world. It can be exchanged for any good and service in the world.
Totally.
What in the are you talking about? Where's my jar? Bing.
Bing.
Nothing could make this more clear than the situation of NFTs, non-fungible tokens. In this case, celebrities like John Terry and Paris Hilton sell little pictures of monkeys on the internet that look a little bit like them, sometimes for millions of dollars. People who buy them often think it gives them the legal copyright rights to these pictures. But then they find actually they don't legally own anything. All they've bought is a little token on the internet saying they own it with no associated legal rights. It's the same with Bitcoin, it's the same with crypto. You don't own any real assets. You don't have any legal rights. It is a totally unbacked monetary system.
So he's saying that monetary system is not backed by the legal system. Okay, I'd love to hear what he has to say about gold. Because gold, physical gold, is a bearer asset. If I hold gold in my hand, I have the gold.
Yeah.
And I can exchange it with anyone who finds gold to be valuable, which is everyone on earth, right? There's no legal system there's legal systems that might back that or might not back that.
Yeah.
Might say I own it, might say I don't own it, right? I might be recorded in a ledger as the rightful owner or not, but it's possession of the physical asset that matters because it is a bearer asset. It's an asset. Assets in accounting equals liabilities plus equity. So a bearer asset is an asset that has no associated liability whatsoever. It's 100% equity. I have all the equity in the gold. The gold in my possession is my gold. I'm 100% shareholder in my gold. Mm-hmm. Okay. The same is true for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the same thing, but instead of physically holding it, it's informational. Yeah.
Which is it's mind blowing. It's the merging of the physical and the invisible or the information, the metaphysical world.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. So again, now he's like mixing his metaphors here. It's like, well, it's not backed because it's not redeemable or something. Now he's saying it's not backed because it's not supported by a legal system. It's like, dude, the physical possession of gold is what legal systems are built on top of.
That's a good point.
Why do you think the United States is the dominant superpower in the world? Because after World War II, the United States has the most gold. What would we do? What's the first thing we did at the conclusion of World War II? We held the Bretton Woods Conference, in which the dollar would be pegged to gold and all the other currencies would be pegged to ours. Yeah. Which gave us the exorbitant privilege to print as many dollars as we want, AKA send them overseas. Steal. That's right. They send us goods and services. The rest of the world accepts this deal because they can redeem dollars for gold.
Well, also that
until 1971, and we're 6-to-1 levered, and we printed too many dollars, and then Nixon says no more redeeming dollars for gold.
Well, and it seems that most of the rest of the world over time either was adverse to it initially, or they become adverse to it, and then you got people who get killed.
Yeah, I mean, money is the means and end of all warfare, as far as I can tell. Yeah, and that's why it's such a deep topic. But for this guy to say that it's unbacked, it's like, well, what is fiat currency? Totally Tell me what fiat currency is backed by. Oh, backed by the legal system that you meant. Oh yeah, it's a legally enforced injustice. That I would agree with.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking regular money is exactly the same. Central banks are printing hundreds of billions of pounds and dollars, and they're devaluing the pound in your pocket. They're devaluing your savings. They're devaluing your wages. And you're looking for a safer place to invest. That is 100% true, and I've said the same thing on my channel. But listen, just because money is a bad investment, that doesn't mean you should start buying made-up internet money. Look, if some guy came to your city and said, look, your money is a bad investment, you should buy this brand new internet money I've created, would you do it? Look, the vast majority of the owners and creators of these cryptocurrencies are very, very wealthy people. And they're convincing you to buy their internet points with your real money, and they're using that real money to buy your mom's houses. That is what is happening here. And listen, I know there are people who are not going to want to hear this message. There are people who might even be getting angry. There are people who are invested in Bitcoin who desperately, desperately want it to go up. Listen, I know that. And I know we've created a country here where ordinary, hard-working young men and women can work every hour of the week and save up every penny and still not even be able to buy a house. Listen, I know we've created a society where it's almost impossible for people from poor backgrounds to become rich. And I know if you create that society, then ordinary people are going to be desperately looking for another alternative, a way out. And I know that these very wealthy people are using those fears and insecurities to try and get you to buy into these points on the internet. And they're taking your real money in return for that. Listen, this is not a way out. This is a trap. But you know what upsets me more? We live in a country where ordinary families are getting poorer.
Why is he not? And he mentions the central bank, then he starts mentioning all the symptoms of central banking, but he's not connecting the dots.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched very much of him.
Is that something he does or not? I guess
generation after generation. The home ownership rate is collapsing. People are being pushed further and further into debt. We've got a billionaire chancellor who's raising taxes on ordinary people whilst cutting taxes on millionaires and billionaires. And while all this is happening, some of our smartest, brightest young people have been convinced that the only thing they can do against this is trade pictures of monkeys on the internet. Listen, there's a real fight going on here, okay? The rich and the super rich are getting richer and richer and taking the real resources that the families of this country need. Ordinary people are getting poorer. They've got the money, the power, and the newspapers. The only thing we've got is that there's more of us and we're smarter. The only way we can protect the financial position of ordinary families in this country is by coming together. Look, if you're a crypto trader out there, we need you. Come together and help us fight back.
He wants to tax the rich. What? That's his whole thing, is tax the rich.
I was going to say, it sounds just like a Marxist.
It's very Marxist.
You're just drawing. Again, this is why he's probably a paid an obfuscation guy of some kind.
Yeah,
it's like get
WF
people
shill.
aligned against the rich.
Yep.
Ignore the state / central bank.
Yeah.
There's a great graphic of this. Someone shows, God, I'll have to find it, but it shows like a geometric block, and it says like, you know, the poor, middle class, and rich, and like people think the rich are the enemy, but it's actually like it's the rich, but the people that acquired their wealth through coercion and violence. Basically, the state who stole. He just mentioned the chancellor of the UK, I presume, is a billionaire that's increasing taxes on the middle class and lowering taxes on the rich. Like, okay, that guy, if he's a billionaire chancellor, stole all that money. So yes, that guy, the fiat politicians, make fun of them, call them out, like do not comply, all of that.
Yeah.
But people that are rich for offering useful goods and services in consensual exchange to the human race, like, no, applaud them, imitate them. That's the whole point of markets.
And that's the problem with the idea of taxing the rich or unrealized capital gains taxes,
It
because
presupposes we need taxation.
Yeah, well, you're confiscating their property.
Yeah.
And the idea of property confiscation or redistribution of wealth sounds really good until you fall into the bracket that's of people or classes being redistributed from.
Sure.
It's really easy to say, oh, Elon Musk is too rich or Jeff Bezos is too rich. We should take away their wealth or their whatever they have. I don't think that would ever work.
No, I mean, it's like any board game that you play. If someone gets into a lead on the board game, you're playing Monopoly and some guy all of a sudden is accumulating a lot of the money and you're like, hey, well, let's steal some of his money back and redistribute it because we're losing, you know, like then it's no longer a game. You're not playing a board game by consensual rules. You're in some kind of fight or political struggle.
Yeah.
You know, so what he is advocating for here is a degeneration of the social system into something that is barbaric.
Yeah.
If you just tax the rich, okay, well then they got rich by serving humanity, by offering people goods and services, assuming they were an entrepreneur and not a statesman or a criminal, right? They got rich by solving problems for people in an economically efficient way. You now want to disincentivize the guys that solved problems in an economically efficient way. That is retarded.
100%.
Okay, so you don't tax the rich, you end taxation and you end inflation and you unleash the marketplace to solve human problems better, faster, cheaper.
Yep.
But it's like, it's this paradigm that people are stuck in, again, probably because he's a Keynesian educated economist, that he can't think that deep. Or he hasn't been permitted to think that deep, or he hasn't been introduced to Austrian economic thinking.
Yeah.
And so instead he's just doing this like macho walk through the street thing, talking about tax the rich. It's like, dude, you're just a little Marxist.
Well, he's identified a problem, and that's like this bifurcation of our society. It's have yachts, and it's getting worse. It's that cancel-on effect. But the solution is a Marxist communist solution that has failed and ended in the death of millions and millions of people.
Yeah, and which is exactly what Marxism did as well. Properly described a problem. There are have-nots, have-yachts, as you put it. The wealth gap is even widening.
Yeah.
But then, so accurate description and then a perfectly inaccurate prescription, which is, you can summarize Marxism in one sentence, according to Marx: the abolition of private property.
Yeah.
That's the exact opposite of what you want to do. You want a permanently level playing field for all humans, which is the perfection of private property, which means no inflation, no taxation, no central bank, no government that does not opt in or opt out. You should be able to opt out of any government that is not serving you properly. That's what forces government to be accountable to the preferences of their citizens. So it's this level of thinking that we have to go to if we're actually going to fix the world. This is not going to fix the world. We've already done this.
This is more of the same.
This is more of the same. We've done this. We've already,
Yeah. And the thing that really gets frustrating, and I'm trying to transmute my frustration around it all, is that the worse it gets, the more people rally behind these false ideologies and they vote for more of the same.
Yes.
And it's this feedback loop that's so discouraging at times. And like, that's where I'm so grateful for Bitcoin, because there is hope. We have a solution now. You know, if you rewind the clock, however many years ago, we had similar dynamics unfold. We didn't have a real solution. We still were trying to trust a central authority. And as global trade scaled, you can't use gold.
That's right.
And so thank gosh we have an option now.
Yeah, thank God for Bitcoin, as we say all the time. It does remind me too, this little meme. I don't know, man. I'm starting to doubt that this bloated surveillance state war machine run by ancient demonic cult of child rapists can be fixed by voting.
I'm starting to doubt it. Oh my gosh, I love that.
So when he, like, last criticism, I'll let him finish his point, but when he says, like, we need everyone to come together, it's like that is a classic Marxist trope, right?
Yeah.
Literally, from each according to their ability to each according to their need, right? We're all one big brotherhood.
Yeah.
We don't need markets. We don't need pricing. We'll just all hug each other. And whoever needs something, we'll give it to them. And the person who's able to give it to them will do it out of their own heart. And that's how we're going to operate. 8.5 billion people operating like one little, like, has anyone here, if you ever managed a household with more than like 3 people,
Yeah.
you know how, and that is communist, right? That's literally, I don't charge my daughter for breakfast. I do
Right.
from each according to their ability. I can provide breakfast to each according to their need. She's hungry.
And you're totally
Right.
you're the dictator.
We do that, but like, do you know how complicated that is just
Yeah.
in one household? Like, you think you can do that with 8.5 billion people
That's a
that
good
don't give a
point.
about each other?
Yeah.
It's insane. It's scale variant how people interact with one another, right? There's a way we're going to act to each other inside of the walls and the confines of the nuclear family that is not possible at global scale.
Yeah.
And so the ways we orient with one another has to vary across the different scales at which we are orienting with one another. And this is not like, it's not an opinion at this point. Like, theoretically, it's proven in Austrian economics. We have all the empirical proof we need from the 20th century. 169 million people murdered by the state in the 20th century. How many bodies do we need? How many bodies do we need to know that none of the isms work other than individualism?
Individualism.
Only individualism.
Yep.
Look, these guys are selling you a dream here. It's a dream that if you trade their coins and their monkeys on the internet, then you can be a millionaire. And while you're doing that, they're gonna take our wealth and our houses. It's a trap. Don't fall for it. So what do you do instead? Number 1, you educate yourself. I've got a video on this channel about the basics of investing. I've also got a video explaining what is wealth. Understand what real wealth is and what you can do to protect yourself and your family. Number 2 is push back, man. Don't accept a system that is so unequal. Push for a better wealth distribution and for a tax system that taxes billionaires at a higher rate than you pay your tax.
Marxist.
And number 3 is share this message. We need to get people together if we're gonna push back and make things better. Anyway.
Translation, Gary is saying, I am poor, I am mad, and I don't understand economics. That's what he said right there.
I've been looking for an investment that's safer than Bitcoin, and I think I might have finally found one. Keep watching.
Okay, that was painful. But
Oh my goodness.
and this guy is a YouTuber with like 1 million something followers called Gary Economics, and he's literally espousing absolute economic ignorance. Once again, like, reinforces my thesis that we are deep in the economic dark ages.
I agree with that. 1.34 million subscribers.
Sorry to all of you who follow him for advice.
All of you. All right.
Okay.
We're gonna need some more Mind Lab Pro after that. Can you overdo it?
Dave is gonna love you, man.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, like and subscribe, follow for more, leave a comment.
Yeah, and don't be Marxist. Come on, guys. Like, just, oh man. Even he should go hard. Like, all right, let me try to say something nice. He was calling out crypto.
He
and
was
NFTs,
right about that.
Like, all that's correct. Don't trade monkeys and JPEGs or whatever. Yes, that's retarded. He also mentioned the central bank. Like, he didn't connect the dots there. That he listed all of these symptoms and all of these problems that are direct consequences of central banking.
Yeah.
But he didn't connect the dots, but he's sort of on the right track. Central banking is straight out of literally Marx's 1848 Manifesto to the Communist Party. Measure number 5 talks about the centralization of cash and credit to make communism work. Central banking is Marxist.
Yeah.
So
one of the things I like that you talk about is we don't have true capitalism. So I would imagine that this guy could be somebody who's anti-capitalistic in his ideology or views, rhetoric, whatever. But if you have a central bank, you're half communist right out of the gate, because half of every transaction is money.
Marxist money, yeah.
And if your money is Marxist, then you're not in a free market with true capitalism.
Yeah. It's, we talked about it earlier with the Lynn video. Like, what does real rate mean? It's like, oh, it's the central bank set interest rate minus the government set CPI metric. Like there's nothing real about that. That's all central planning. Literally, both of those metrics are centrally planned. They're not, there's no price discovery occurring. There's not market actors like negotiating and arriving at that rate as we have with the price of every other good and service in the world.
Yeah.
In free markets, at least, but we don't have that at all in the market for money.
Yeah.
So it's like hidden in plain sight. It's like, it's right there. Everyone uses money. Everyone thinks through money. We think about money. Everybody likes money, but like, you've got to just take the time to dig into what it actually is, which I guess leads us into our next video, because Mr. Gary Economics also has a video titled "What is Money?" that I could only stand about 3 minutes watching this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess we have to go there next.
Let's do it.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.